Hi Mom, we're back. It's time for guitar lesson 2, which is going to be G, C, and D. Or we already got D. G, C, and F. Now, the G is very versatile and we get a lot from the G. It goes with all kinds of stuff. The way you get your G, and you can look at chord charts, and you need a little chord chart, but why you need this little lesson is for the C, really, and the F, because the G, you can play a regular C, which looks like this, and it's really uncomfortable to get this finger switched around backwards behind you to make that C, which, you know, that's wonderful if you're joining up with Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. But we're going to be sitting around the campfire just making ourselves happy. So the C I always play, and actually I have a guitar teacher that does the same thing, and for the same reason. You can play the C add 9, which the C add 9 is the same form as the G, which makes it so much easier switching from C and G, which is what a lot of songs do. So the G is holding your middle finger down on the 6th string at the 3rd fret, right there, as close. By the way, when you're fretting your instrument, you want to get your finger as close to the edge of that fret as you can. Like, not back here, because that will mute out the sound. You want to be as close to this part of the guitar with your finger as you can. So really what we want is we want it to look like that. See how it starts grounding out, but it comes in clearer the closer you get to the fret. That's the place to hold your finger. Sometimes you can hold it right on the fret. Another word about fretting your guitar is, if your guitar is set up properly, and most guitars are, you don't have to mash down and kill your fingers. You don't have to do that. You should just lay your finger on just enough pressure to hold your string to the fret, and that works. You don't have to mash it. Look, I'm mashing real hard right now. It doesn't make any difference. Now I'm just barely holding it to the fret. That's going to save a lot of time and aggravation with your hands. Just keep in mind that every now and then when you play, that you don't have to kill the frets. They're not going anywhere. As long as that metal string is in contact with that metal fret, it makes a noise. So the G is third fret, middle finger, 6th string. Then index finger, see, we saved that index finger for the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Those are the 2 top strings we'll be grabbing. Then we're going to come down at the bottom, and we're going to stay in the 3rd fret. We're going to use our ring finger to try to hold down the 1st and the 2nd string. Now if your fingers, again, aren't big and fat like mine, you can get that pinky. The way most people play it is they get the ring finger to hold the 2nd string and the pinky to hold the 1st string, all on the 2nd fret. See, there's the nut, and then fret 1, 2, 3. So we're doing all of our business except for that index finger in the 3rd fret. That makes the G. I know it sounds like you've got a lot of fingers involved at the same time, but just with a little bit of time doing that, it's going to come real natural, and you can do it in the dark without ever thinking about it. So I use those 3 fingers, and I'm able to hold both of them down. I wasn't at first. It took me about 2 years for it to actually start sounding halfway decent because it mutiled out. But in time, my ear told my finger to make it happen, and it did. It started happening. It just takes a little bit of time. This is with guitars, they talk about muscle memory. Well, your muscles start remembering.
Use your pinky too.
And you can use your pinky too. So there's my G. Again, it's index finger on the second string, second fret, middle finger on the sixth string, third fret, and then your ring finger down here on the bottom, catching both, or if you need to use your pinky, you can do that. But that's the G. That's a D. Here's an E. A. G. D. E coming up. E. A. Okay, what I want to show you about that G, now that you have your G, to make a C, leave your middle finger right where it is. Just move these two fingers down, just like the A and the E. Now you have the easy cheater C. You're really making a C add 9, but that's fine. It goes with everything else, and in the fur of the moment, nobody's going to notice. And it is a real C. It's a C add 9. There's your C. Now, if you want to get really tricky, same form, same position, move it all down one more, and you have an F. C, F, G, C, F. There it is. There's an easy. What's nice about that C is that when you're playing your G, you don't have to bend your hands around backwards, change fingers on the strings, and come around to make a real C. You can just keep right in your G position and you can make your C, your G, all the way down, make your F, and then your finger's still in the same position, good position, to make a D. See, I never moved my ring finger when I went from the D to the G. Less movement, maximum sound. D, G. And a C, and an E, and an A, G, C, So there's the basics of the chord structure. You have an A now, which, to recap, is just holding these two strings down. There's an A. And an E. A, E, D. So you have an A, an E, a D, a G, a C, and an F. That'll take you a long way. The next lesson would be to get a bar chord, which gives you everything. Till next time.